Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The audio is not clear.
Prabhupada ki jai. Hari Bol. Well done, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Myra, you want to sing? She wants to. She wants to. नहीं आपको
sing and do that.
Harmonious. No, you won't say. Buddhism, Mataji ko, Ganga. He has to sing also. He cannot do both together. आप थोड़ा इधर आ जाओ तो अच्छा है। तो वो दे दो, करता है। मामू को दे दो। वो तो आगे लेके जाएगा। Krishna, now everyone should come. Krishna, Krishna, all the kids in the center of the loud kids, okay? Loud kids. Very loud. They want to find out this. Like one Krishna, everyone has to repeat after so that the voice is loud. Kirtan voice should be very loud. When you loudly hear Kirtan, then it goes into the heart. So everyone has to sing. Okay? Doesn't matter if you're not on a mic, no one will hear your voice. It's together. Let's do it for all the Kirtaniyas. Srinivas Prabhu, Krishna, Mara, we have Vaishnavi Mataji, everyone. Anyone else wants to do kirtan? Can try 5 minutes. Kirtan.
No, you sing, right?
You can sing. You know, mic without the mic. Yeah, you're singing without mic. Because with the mic, I know what to do.
If I would do it, I would like run away. No, I'll just think if I did. You have a song, right?
Okay, now start. I give you the tune. Teachers and kids. Vedant, can you give everyone beats? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Ram. Hare Ram. Ram Ram. Hare Hare. So thank you everyone for coming. It's so good to see everyone. So we'll chant one round. So anyone wants to share anything about chanting? Is everyone chanting at least one round every day? Is there some echo or what? Right? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we'll chant one round. Everyone ready? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Ram. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Srivasadi, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Radha, Shri Hare Krishna. So anyone has any reflections or any questions, comments about chanting? Why we are chanting Hare Krishna? Since we have started this program, all we are doing is Hare Krishna. Why? Why are we doing Hare Krishna? So chanting of the holy name, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is made up of many words. Basically, Hare, Krishna, and Rama. 3 words. Right? Hare means, what does Hare mean? Yes, it's the Hare means Radharani. So it's Hare also means the feminine potency of Krishna, and that is Srimati Radharani. And Hare also means to call out the name of the Lord. Right? We call out, what do we call at home? Hey. Right? So in this way, we have to be more respectful. So we say Hare. And then Krishna. Krishna means all attractive God. Is there anyone more attractive than Krishna? Yes. But Krishna means all attractive. And Krishna, we generally in our material world, we go after a lot of people who have maybe a lot of power. Sometimes we like people who have more power. Like maybe we like Narendra Modi, he has a lot of power in India, right? Or sometimes we like people who are very beautiful, right? Very like maybe handsome as the word for men, or beautiful for women, right? Right? Sometimes we are attracted towards people who are Bollywood stars, Hollywood stars, right? They're very attractive, beautiful, right? Sometimes we are attracted towards people who have more opulence, like they are very rich, like Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, or Jeff Bezos, or whatnot, right? There's so many of them. Or Warren Buffett, who was one of the richest men for a long time, and then we have Bill Gates, right? So many rich people, opulence, right? Sometimes we are attracted towards people with a lot of strength, right? Someone who may be a bodybuilder or something, right? Like we love, oh, I've got nice muscles, and yeah, cool, 6-pack, right? It's a 6-pack. There's also 8-pack these days, right? No, there's no 8-pack. There's only 6-pack. Okay. Okay, I don't know. I thought maybe there's a way to do 8-pack also. Right? So we are attracted towards all of them, right? Can be either someone who's beautiful, someone who has a lot of strength, someone who has a lot of power, someone who has a lot of influence, right? But out of all the people in this world, or in this whole universe, and multiple universes, there's only one person who is the most beautiful, who's the most powerful, most attractive, highest strength that anyone can have, is most opulent, right? There's no one more opulent than him. Elon Musk is nothing as compared to his opulence.
and that is Krishna. So why are we attracted towards these other categories of people? Why not get attracted to Krishna? Why not try to build our attraction towards Krishna and look at all the wonderful qualities that Krishna has? No one has those qualities in this entire universe. You can try to find as much as you want. Go to any country of this world, go to any universe, you can go to Mars with Jeff Bezos, whatever. You cannot find anyone who's more beautiful, more attractive than Krishna. Right? So that is why we chant the holy name, right? So that we can get attracted towards the Supreme Lord, Krishna himself. Right? You want to say something?
Just one thing about beauty and all that is fame and beauty.
Fame, beauty, yeah.
Their beauty and fame is temporary.
Yeah.
But Krishna
Is-
is lovely always.
Yeah, always. He's in spiritual world and he's about 15, 16 years old. His age doesn't go higher. He doesn't have a beard with a white or something in white hair. No. He came 5,000 years ago. And 5,000 years ago, he came and he stayed here for about 125, 130 years. And still he looked like a 15-year-old boy. So let's develop our attraction towards him. He is the most beautiful. And he plays flute, right? And that flute can attract anyone. That flute attracts Srimati Radharani. That flute attracts all the gopis of Vrindavan. And no one can play the flute the way Krishna plays flute. It's most attractive. So, and Rama means the reservoir of all pleasure. Anything can give us pleasure in this world, right? There are a lot of ways we can get pleasure. We can get pleasure either going to an Apple store and buy something. We can get pleasure by buying something on any other store or any other like electronics or whatever. Like there's so many things. I'm sure makeup or jewelry, or I'm trying to make sure I cover every ground for everyone. Right? So, but there's only one person that can give us the supreme pleasure. There's only one person that can give us the pleasure that we can never feel in this material world. And that person is Krishna. By taking his name, gradually we'll develop that taste. That taste can beat any other taste of this material world. And I think you all have some taste. That's why you're all sitting here. Otherwise, you would be spending your Friday evening somewhere else, partying somewhere. But the fact that you are here, man, means you all have taste. We all have taste. We have different degrees of taste, right? Some have come to Krishna consciousness recently. Some have been there for a long time. Some have started chanting more rounds or started chanting one round. And that means we are developing that taste. And that is the taste we need to continue to develop, because that will lead us to spiritual growth. We can continue our material life. No one is saying, no Shastra, no scripture says that we have to leave our family life. We have to become a sannyasi and go to the forest. No, you can still have all the facilities that you want to have in your life. But at the same time, we have to start working on our spiritual life. Because this spiritual life will contain us throughout our life. Material life will not. Eventually, when we get to a point where it's time to go back, only spirituality, only whatever we have chanted, whatever number of rounds we have chanted, whatever bhakti vrikshas we have attended, whatever programs, kirtans we have heard, that will help the most. And that is the true test. And it's not going to be easy. Even though we have done all of that, still it's not going to be easy. So we have to develop that strength, a spiritual strength, so that we can deal with any kind of problems that may come in the future. And this world is full of problems. We all know that. We all have come across problems. So we cannot assume that, okay, problems will not come. Problems will come, but if we are spiritually strong, and that spiritual strength can come by chanting the holy name. That spiritual strength is all within the chanting of the holy name. So if we take that seriously and pick up our beads and chant at least one round every single day, then we are taking some steps towards the all-attractive Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. And I can guarantee you, and all the acharyas, everyone, all the wonderful devotees, pure devotees of this, who have given us all this literature, who have given us a lot of words of wisdom, have clearly told us that Krishna will take 100 steps towards you if you take one step towards him. So this chanting of the holy name is taking that one step. And the more we chant, the more steps we are taking towards the all-attractive Supreme Lord. And then we are building our spiritual strength. We're building our spiritual, we're growing spiritually, and that can sustain us throughout our life. And not just this life, it can give us a supreme destination in the next life. That is called long-term thinking. Whoever is in this IT field, they say, right, what is the long-term thinking? What is the long-term goal, short-term goal? Right? That's the long-term goal. If you want to think beyond that anyone else could think about, everyone else would think about what they want to do tomorrow, what they want to do day after tomorrow, or a 5-year goal or a 10-year goal, and how I can go from 1 million to 10 million to 50 million to 100 million. But then when the time comes to go back, or not really go back, but really to go out of this world, then 100 million, 50 million, 10, whatever, it's not going to count. It's not going to matter. Right? So anyone has any questions, comments, reflections before we start the Bhagavad Gita? Okay. Very well. Thank you. You can open up the Bhagavad Gita's on your phone. So it's vedabase.io. No. Vedabase.io. And if you have it, then you can open it. So we'll start with Mangal Charana prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhisham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shram Shri Rupam Sahajamakam Sahagarvaram Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahaganaya Shri Vishakam Shram He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Namo Shivaya Krishna Vishaya Vitaration Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gurmani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasha Pradesha Namo Shivaya Krishna Vishaya Vitaration Krishna Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So I think we were on 1.28, chapter 1, verse 28.
27.
27?
27.
Okay, 27 is the, we can start with 27. So what's happening in the Bhagavad Gita so far? Anyone wants to summarize? Anything that you remember?
Yeah, two armies. One on
Yeah.
this side, they're trying to tell about what are the powers of this army, who is on this army, and then on the other side,
Yeah.
and talking about their shaurya, I guess. Mostly that's what it's about.
Yeah, that's good.
And then Krishna took Arjun to the center or near the corner to set the scene for the upcoming.
Yeah. Yeah, in the middle of the battlefield. Yeah. Yes, Mata.
First of all, Dhritarashtra asked Sanjaya what's happening in the battlefield.
Yeah.
And then Sanjaya, because of the special power he has got, he says that on this side all these people are ready, on the other side these people are ready. And then Arjuna asks this charioteer, who is Krishna, can you take me to the no man's land in between both of the armies? So Krishna takes him to the center, and Arjuna looks at both the sides and he sits down saying, I cannot fight this war, because he feels that there are many achievements that he can get after so he wins the war, but he feels it's not worth after killing his own people to get all that. So when he sits down in that mode, then Krishna starts the entire Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, wonderful. Very nice. Yes. That's a good summary of the first chapter. Very
I
nice.
read this for Advait because I got a book, How to Teach Bhagavad Gita to Kids. So it was a tool for parents to teach. So I thought if it's a tool for parents, usually I give books to him and ask him to read. So this I thought I should read first if I need to ask him and have a discussion. So
Yes.
I read the first chapter. It is just very small, like so how kids will understand.
Yeah. No, thank you. Wonderful. All explanations you all gave is wonderful. Everything is perfect. So Dhritarashtra, the first word starts with Dhritarashtra, right? Asking the question. And we learned from that how attached he was to his son, Duryodhan, right? And because of that, the whole war happened, right? Actually, in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is described that Vidur, who was the advisor to Dhritarashtra, was actually his brother, right? His Dasi Putra, and he was his brother. He actually advised Dhritarashtra that he should leave his son, his evil-minded son, because he is the one who's creating all the problems for you in your life. But then Duryodhan came right at that time, and Duryodhan asked Vidur to leave the palace. And at that time, Vidur actually left the palace. This was before the war. Right? And Vidur left the palace, and then he went for a trip of pilgrimage. So Dhritarashtra had many signs that he should not be too attached to his son. He knew that he was doing the wrong thing, but he was so attached to his son that he continued on this path. And then eventually all his sons and everyone got killed, right? They died in the battlefield. So then, yes, as you said, they started explaining, Duryodhan started explaining the armies on the other side. He started explaining the armies on his side. And indirectly, he's trying to motivate and Bhishma Dev and Dronacharya and others that you all are very powerful and you can really win this battle for us, right? And then we read about the conch, right? The blowing of the conch shell on both sides, right? And we know that when Krishna and Arjun blew the conch shell, then the sound was tumultuous and it shattered the hearts of Kauravas. Whereas when Kauravas were blowing the conch shell, it did not have any effect. And also Krishna's conch shell was described as divyam, transcendental, right? And now what's happening is Mayank Prabhu said that Arjun asked Krishna as his charioteer to take the rath, the chariot, in the middle of the battlefield so that he can see both sides from there. And Krishna followed the command of his friend and a close devotee, Arjun, and asked him to and took the chariot in the middle of the armies. And now what we are reading, as you said, Mataji, that the Arjun is now in a lot of stress and anxiety, and we'll now read from now till the end of this chapter. We'll read many different reasons of why Arjun did not want to fight. Now, why is it important? Before we go and read at least the first, today I'm thinking maybe 3-4 verses we'll cover. And why is it important for us to know what's going on with Arjun? Anyone can say? Yes, Mataji.
Maybe because we all go through these situations in different scenarios in our life. So it is indirectly the confusions, the anxiety, the depression, everything. Maybe there it's a war field, but for us it's a normal life. But we might also go through those emotions in some time or the other in our life.
Yeah,
Is it because of that?
That is true. Yes. Yeah. I mean, anxiety still exists, right? Does anxiety exist in this world? 5,000 years ago, they were there. I don't know about the stress exists.
5,000 times.
Now we have wonderful phones and iPads, and why are we stressed and why is there anxiety? Should be less now. We are technologically more advanced, right? But yes, you're right that Arjun was going through all of it. That's why first chapter is very important, because first chapter is explaining the problem. You don't want to. If I tell you 50, I'll just give you number 50 and say, why you're giving the number 50? What does that mean? When I tell you that 5 multiplied by 10 is 50, I said that, okay, then I explained the whole problem to you and said, yes, this was a problem. The solution was 50. If I just tell you 50, then there's no point. That's why first chapter is very important. That's why Vyasadeva, when he wrote Mahabharata, right? Within Mahabharata, 700 verses were considered as Gita, right? Bhagavad Gita. And out of those 700 verses, 18 chapters, right? And the first chapter, he included as part of Bhagavad Gita because it explains the problem. Actually, sometimes you go on the street and you ask people, have you read Bhagavad Gita? And a lot of Indians say, oh yeah, I've read Bhagavad Gita. I already have it. I have 2. I have 3. And then you say, okay, take it. This one you will read. No, I've read many times. I've read many times. I said, where is it? Oh, it's in my temple room, sitting there as it is, right? I said, I've read everything in the Bhagavad Gita. I know there are 19 chapters, and we've finished all 19 chapters. So they don't even know how many chapters are in Bhagavad Gita. Right? There are 18 chapters, 700 verses. So that's why it's important to understand what's going on with Arjun. So in verse 1.27, I'll just read the Sanskrit.
If you ask them what is Bhagavad Gita,
Karma Nirvadhikara. I'm just doing my duty. That's what Bhagavad Gita says. And that's what the sign of LIC used to say. So I just follow that.
Then always seen my grandfather reading Bhagavad Gita with the meaning. So I knew that's Bhagavad Gita, but I have always seen him reading it. So I was like 4 or 5. I still remember asking him, how long have you been reading this book? Every time you're reading this book. So he has told me, I have read it multiple times. Why? Because he's told me every time you read, you get new messages and new meanings. So then I didn't understand, but now
Yeah, we talked about this verse. Prati shloke prati akshay nana arthe kare. That's also it's describes Srimad Bhagavatam. It also describes Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Like there are many meanings. There are many things you can develop, you can get from Bhagavad Gita. But you have to make sure you go to the right source, right? There are people in this world who are actually taking Krishna out of Bhagavad Gita. Say there is no Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. They say there is that Krishna is nothing. There was someone inside Krishna that's speaking. And Krishna is saying me in the Bhagavad Gita, but they are saying no, that's not Krishna. So we have to go to the right source to understand that knowledge because it's tricky. You cannot just rely on anyone, right? Like this. I mean, there are many of them. I don't want to name them and call them out. Okay, let's read 1 to 7. First chapter, 27 verse. Tan samikshya sakanteya sarvan bandhun avastitam kripaya parayavastito vishtan idam abravit. When the son of Kunti, Arjun, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. And then we go to number 28. Arjun Uvacha Drishvemam Swajanam Krishna Yuyutsum Samapastitam Siddhanti Mama Gatrani Mukham Cha Parishushati. Arjun said, my dear Krishna, seeing my friend and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. My dear Krishna, Arjun said, my dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. So anyone wants to read the purport? Okay.
Any man who has genuine devotion to the Lord has all the good qualities which are found in godly person or in demigods, whereas the non-devotee, however advanced he may be in the material qualifications by education and culture, lacks in godly qualities. As such, Arjuna, just after seeing his kinsmen, friends, and relatives on the battlefield, was at once overwhelmed by compassion for them who had so decided to fight amongst themselves. As far as his soldiers were concerned, he was sympathetic from the beginning, but he felt compassion even for the soldiers of the opposite party, foreseeing their imminent death. And while he was so thinking, the limbs of his body began to quiver, and his mouth became dry. He was more or less astonished to see their fighting spirit. Practically the whole community, all blood relatives of Arjuna had come to fight with him. This overwhelmed a kind devotee like Arjuna. Although it is not mentioned here, still one can easily imagine that not only were Arjuna's bodily limbs quivering and his mouth drying up, but he was also crying out of compassion. Such symptoms in Arjuna were not due to weakness, but to his heartedness, a characteristic of a pure devotee of the Lord. It is said, therefore,
I can read the Sanskrit. Yasyati bhaktir bhagvati akinchana sarver guna tatra samaste sura hara abha tasya kuto mahadguna mano ratha nishati dadavato bhahi.
one who has unflinching devotion for the personality of Godhead has all the good qualities of the demigods. But one who is not devotee of the Lord has only material qualifications that are of little value. This is because he is hovering over on the mental plane and is certain to be attracted by the glaring material image.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Wonderful purport. So these verses from verse 28 to 30, or we can say 27 also, explains the bewilderment that Arjun was going through. Arjun was really having a panic attack, right? Have seen people having panic attack or very extreme anxiety, right? So Arjun was going through that. His limbs were quivering or shaking, right? Does that happen with anyone else here? And there's a lot of anxiety, hand shake, right? It's quivering. So that's what Arjun was going through. And so Arjun's feelings are not different than what we feel sometimes, right? He's sitting in front of he's in the battlefield, and on one side is Kauravas, and other side is Pandavas. And Kauravas are also his own kinsmen, right? His own people. And he'll explain that in this verse, in the further verses, that these are his own people. These are his own family members that he is fighting with. So, and Srila Prabhupada describes that Arjuna was also crying with compassion. Not only that, he was crying with compassion. What does compassion mean? Anyone else?
Karuna.
Karuna can mean mercy,
Feeling for others.
feeling for others. But at the same time, there's more to compassion. Actually, recently, I was reading about empathy. And there are different types of empathy. And I think even anyone who goes to work, nowadays it's a lot about EQ, right? Emotional intelligence, right? We need to have emotional intelligence at work. With our customers, with our fellow people, right? And that EQ, that emotional intelligence or that empathy, there are different types of empathy. Right? One type of empathy is very much on the emotional side, like with what parents do with their children, right? They have empathy for the children. If they get a little bit, they're crying a little bit, so they can feel that crying a little bit, right? One is more on the cognitive side, and more like logical, like there's no emotion in it, but you can still logically think what this other person may be going through, right? And then there is the third type, which is compassion, which is a form of empathy, where not only you're feeling what other person is going to go through or is going through right now, but also you're taking certain action to prevent that to happen, right? Or to provide some kind of a solution if needed. As the modern authors describe, if needed, you are taking certain action, right? So these are the three different types of empathy that you can have. And out of these three, compassion is number one. Because not only you're feeling what other person is going through, you are imbibing that feeling within you as if you are also going through that same. And at the same time, you're figuring out what you can do as a solution for that. So here in this scenario, Arjun can feel the pain, the suffering that this other Kaurava's army, and especially his own kinsmen, will go through, right? And his solution was what? Which we'll read, let me just give up fighting. Let me just give up fighting and go to the forest. Because that way, I will not kill all my kinsmen. I will be saved from killing my own kinsmen or my people, right? And that means I'm doing favor to them. That means I'm compassionate towards them. And I'm almost like that. Arjun is crying in compassion. So that's what compassion means. Now, there are two types of compassion. One type of compassion is material compassion, which is I only care about the body or the external person, right? That's what Arjun was going through. Arjun was going through a material compassion. Oh, I care about these warriors. I care about these soldiers. They're on the other side. And that's on the material level. Because we know the principle of Bhagavad Gita is we are not this body, we are soul. So then second type of compassion, which is the real compassion, is compassion for the What is the compassion for the soul? Yes. So that is the real compassion. So Arjun, being a devotee of the Lord, is very soft-hearted, as Srila Prabhupada describes. It's not that he was fearing his own death. There was no fear of his own death. He was showing compassion, but he was showing compassion to the body. And later on, he learned from Krishna that the real compassion is compassion for the soul. So in our day-to-day life, we have to have that distinction. When we look at our own family members, we have to do both, because we have to make sure that they are physically fine. At the same time, they are spiritually growing, right? So we have to have both material and spiritual compassion. But at the same time, we need to remember that the compassion for the soul is higher than the compassion for the body. So practically in our life, we should try to do things for our family members, our friends, that is on the high quotient, on the spiritual compassion rather than a material compassion. Does that make sense? Or is it too technical? Make sense? So Srila Prabhupada is describing, right? So he gives an example. Srila Prabhupada gives an example of compassion because, I mean, he's a good example of compassion, spiritual compassion, right? A compassion for the soul. Why? Why is Srila Prabhupada the best example, actually, for compassion for the soul?
Because he gave teachings to go in.
Yes. He came to America in 1965 with 40 rupees in his pocket. 40 rupees, not $40. 40 rupees in his pocket. 1965, at the age of 69, leaving Vrindavan. How many people we have known that who will give their life in Vrindavan? Say, now I'm retired, I'll go to Vrindavan and I'll live there for the rest of my life. And I don't want to step out of Vrindavan. They don't want to step out of Vrindavan because if they step out of Vrindavan and let's suppose they leave their body, gone. All the benefit of going to Vrindavan is gone. So in that's the kind of sadhus that live in Vrindavan. He was living in Vrindavan, writing books, and at the age of 69, rather than spending the rest of his life in Vrindavan, so that he can directly go back to Godhead. Anyone who leaves his body in Vrindavan directly goes back to Godhead. Rather than that, he went on a Jaladuta ship, a cargo ship, not a Dreamliner or a Boeing 747, on a cargo ship, having 2 heart attacks while coming here, right? I mean, he's the example, the best example of compassion. Why? Because he knows that people are suffering in the Western world, right? That's why a devotee, especially a pure devotee, is para dukha dukhi, right? He understands why people are suffering. He can look inside of you and clearly see why you're suffering, because he knows this material world is full of suffering, and he has the best solution possible. That is Krishna consciousness. That is why Srila Prabhupada took all that pain to come to America. And when he arrived on the Boston harbor, he was standing there and he did not know whether to turn left or to turn right. He didn't have any friends, right, at the age of 69. And he struggled very hard, very, very hard, to give us this knowledge of Krishna consciousness. So that is the real compassion. So we can see that in this verse, it is described, Dishva tu Swajanam Krishna. So saying, my dear Krishna, I have to kill my own men. And Srila Prabhupada describes in his lecture, one of his lecture, what does he mean by own men? What own men? If we are at the spiritual platform, there is no one, this person is different, this person is different. No, everyone is together. Everyone is own men. There's no like, oh, Kauravas are own men and Pandavas are own men and the rest of them are not our men. So there is no difference, right? So there is one perspective. I mean, there are more things as well we can describe, but I will stop here and see if you have any comments on this verse or any questions. We talked about the compassion. So I'm going to summarize a little bit because we talked a lot of technical terms, but this is very important to understand. The real compassion is compassion for the soul, right? And Arjun was going through deep anxiety, but his compassion was compassion at the bodily level. which is he was thinking that this is my grandfather Bhishma, this is my guru Dronacharya, right? Whereas Krishna had already made the arrangement to kill all of them. Krishna will later on say, don't worry, Arjun, I've already made the arrangements to kill them, but you take the credit. All you have to do is go in and take the credit. That's what I'm giving it to you. So everything was already planned. And we talked about how Srila Prabhupada had the highest compassion, the topmost compassion that anyone can have, which is compassion for the soul. And we can also imbibe that compassion in us slowly as we are chanting the holy name, reading scriptures. And that's why you see people on the streets giving out books. That's why you see people on the street doing Harinam, because they are imbibing that compassion of the soul. They know that the real gift that we can give to humanity is Krishna consciousness, because that can take them back to Godhead, and that can give them the spiritual strength, which we were discussing before. So anyone has any comments before we move to the next verse?
I like the point, compassion for the soul. So if you give somebody Krishna consciousness, that means you are giving them knowledge that how you can get out of this cycle of birth and death.
Yeah.
If you are compassionate on the bodily level, like if somebody is hungry, you just give them food. Then the devotees, instead of giving food, they give prasad, so that they can
Yeah, there are so many devotees in India. I mean, here there are not many beggars we see, but they keep prasad in their car, and they give prasad to those people who are hungry, rather than giving them just anything or giving them money. The best thing you can do is give them prasad, because you are doing the most wonderful favor to that soul, because they are getting Krishna prasad.
And not just prashadam, I mean, a good point that you mentioned is like good distribution. We have seen in a lot of videos and that, they are not illiterate who, give books, brahmacharis or whoever, like sometimes we go, IT professionals, IIT graduates, they have like renounced their life. I mean, they could have making big money in the top companies, but they are compassionate for. They have understood the real dharma, and their position. Like what is more beneficial for the souls is the real knowledge, which is Krishna consciousness, instead of wasting time somewhere else. Like, to the right warriors of Prabhupada.
Yeah.
So,
Any other comments? Okay, we'll go to the next
so
verse.
inspiring.
Yeah. And I mean, another thing is that the way Arjun when he was on the side of the Pandavas, when his chariot was on the side of the Pandavas, right? When he was looking over the army, at that point, he was saying, all these people have joined this evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra, evil-minded Duryodhan, actually, he said. So he knew that this is an evil-minded Duryodhan, and all these people on the other side, they are supporting Duryodhan. But the moment the Rath went in the middle of the armies, his perspective changed. And now he's saying these are own men, Swajanam. So Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, he's very good with Bhagavad Gita. He said one very important thing. He said that sometimes with eyes, our perspective may change. Right? It's just the matter of eyes. But what we have to do is use our intelligence to differentiate. Eyes may give you different perspective, but when intelligence comes, then you figure out, okay, really, yes, they may look like our own men, but they are on the other side of the army. And I have to fight with them because that is my dharma. That is my true dharma. That is my duty, is to fight. So we'll just do one more verse, I guess, today. So 129. What is it?
Just came like the sleep mode or something.
Oh yeah, the sleep mode is on right now. Generally sleep at 9, but the sleep mode comes at 9. You can change it, bro. Swipe it up and change the sleep mode. So what first chapter 29 first?
I don't see it. It's not there. Sleep mode is not there. It's still working. It's still working.
It's working.
Said that.
Said that.
It's working though, right?
It's working. It's green. It's working.
Vepatushcha sharire me roma harshashcha jayate gandivam shramaste hastat tvak cheva pridhayate. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. Purport. Anyone wants to read the purport? Okay.
There are two kinds of trembling of the body and two kinds of standing on of the air. This phenomena occurs either in the great spiritual ecstasy or out of great fear. There is no fear in realization. Arjuna's economic symptoms in this situation are other than fear, namely thoughts of fear. There is evidence from other symptoms also. He became so impatient that his famous Bhagavad was slipping from his hand, and because his heart was burning within him, he was feeling a burning sensation. All those are due to the conception.
Hare Krishna, thank you. My whole body is trembling, and my hair is standing on end. My bow gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. So what's happening with Arjun? He's thinking that, okay, the other side of the army is his own people, Swajana, right? He's saying Drishtva Swajana, right? So there's one example that we can give. A police officer who's ordered to kill his own relative. There's a police officer on the street, and there's his own relative. He's doing something very wrong, and he has to shoot his relative. What would the police officer do? If he follows his dharma, he has to shoot. He follows his duty. Because the relative can cause harm to some people. Right? So that's a true dharma. Then the same situation is for Arjun. Similar situation is for Arjun. Because Arjun, all his relatives on the other side, and true dharma is to kill them because they have been given many chances. They had to give land to Yudhishthira Maharaj and all the Pandavas, but they did not do it. Duryodhan tried to kill them many times. Right? Dhritarashtra did not listen to them. Dhritarashtra always considered them as separate. Right? They went to the Agyatwas, right? They went through this whole gambling match, and Draupadi was insulted by Kauravas. Right? So they went through all of that, right? Pandavas went through all of that, and but Kauravas did not have any compassion for them, and so yeah, I mean Arjun is in that predicament right now. That should I fight or not fight? I mean, on the other side is all my kinsmen, right? They are all my relatives. So he wanted some sort of a kind of a clarity, like some sort of a ethical clarity is what they call, to really decide, right? But what Srila Prabhupada does is Srila Prabhupada is so wonderful that in the purport, he is comparing what's happening with Arjun, which is the trembling, right? Body trembling, hair standing on end, Gandiva slipping from my hand, skin is burning, all those things. And he's saying there are two kinds of trembling of the body. One is what we saw with Arjun. And then the other trembling of the body is when someone is in ecstasy of love of Krishna, which is considered as one of the topmost stages. So, topmost stages of bhava and prema. So there are different stages of bhakti, right? So the different stages are bhajana kriya, sadhu sangha, anartha nivriti, right? Ruchi, asakti, bhava, prema. So there are different stages of bhakti. And in different stages, the topmost stages, which is bhava and prema, there are there is trembling of the body, there is hair standing on end, right? Um, Skin burning. There's so many other things that happen. It's called ashta. Um, let's see, what's the name of that? It's called ashta satvika vikar. There are 8 kind of ecstatic symptoms that happen to someone who is in deeply love with Krishna. And we can see all those symptoms with Srimati Radharani and all the gopis. So he's comparing those two. That's spiritual ecstasy. And on the other side, what Arjun was going through was material. It was all on the material plane. So that is the difference between the two. So anyone has any comments, questions? I think we'll end here after, and we'll just generally have any discussion, because I don't want to go too far, because we have 2 birthdays to celebrate today as well. So any comments, questions anyone has?
Part of the disciples of Prabhupada have seen Prabhupada in ecstasy.
Yes.
Doing kirtan. While doing chanting. Prabhupada's going.
It cannot be, you cannot imitate that. It's a very advanced stage of bhakti. Very, very advanced stage. Sometimes we get sentimental or we get some emotional, but that is not really the highest stage. But yeah, Srila Prabhupada is comparing, he's bringing the topmost thing in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita in the purport and explaining it. So anyone has any reflections, comments?
Just that I just want to say that Arjuna was, even though it was a Satyug and one of like Dwapar Yuga, so like during that time also Arjun was materialistically attached to his family, even though Krishna was right there. Like if Krishna is there, who wants to be attached to anything? So that's the only thing that comes to my mind.
Yeah, and I think there are a few ways to understand that. You're right that he was attached to the family, but at the same time, this was Krishna's arrangement for him, because Arjun is an eternal devotee of the Lord. He's an eternal friend of Krishna. He's at the Sakhya Ras, which is one of the topmost, right? I mean, we have Madhurya, Vatsalya, Sakhya, and then Dasya. So he was at the Sakhya Ras. I mean, he's still at the Sakhya Ras. So his position is in the spiritual world, but he was sent here for a purpose, and Krishna wanted him to get bewildered so that he can speak Bhagavad Gita to him. That can benefit the whole society. Everyone, every human can get benefited by it. But at the same time, yes, he was attached. We can see that too, that he was attached to his family, attached to his own kinsmen. And if he had not been attached, then we would not have Bhagavad Gita. So the whole purpose was to give us the Bhagavad Gita and knowledge. So we can relate to this. We can relate to all of this. And then we can look forward to what's coming, what Krishna is going to say to answer some of those questions, those doubts, those points of anxiety that we have in our life. How will Krishna break all those roadblocks for Arjun to really clearly see that what is really a compassion, what is truly a compassion for the soul, and what is our real position in this material world or in the spiritual world, who we are, right? We are soul, we are part and parcel of Krishna, and what we have to do is bhakti. And which is explained in the middle 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, which is considered as the essence of all the yoga principles. And in the most middle, I don't know if there's a term called middleist, but I'll say it, let's suppose, is the verse that says Man mana mad bad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru, which is Krishna is saying, always worship me, right? Always take my name, right? Always think of me. So Krishna is saying, just do that, and then your life is successful. Always think of me. This is not Krishna, someone inside of Krishna saying. This is Krishna himself saying that always think of me. And then he says, surrender unto me. Why are we surrendering to something else in this world? We surrender to Krishna. Krishna is going to give us everything. That he's already giving us everything. But that's what Krishna is asking for: is you surrender to me, abandon all varieties of religion. The other religion doesn't matter. All the other religions, and we are not talking about Hindu, Muslims. No, we're not. We are beyond that. This is not a Hindu discussion happening right now. This is not Hindu. This is beyond Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, and Christian and whatever, right? It doesn't matter. So Krishna is saying, abandon everything. Just come to me. Your purpose should be to surrender to me. That's the purpose of life, is to surrender to Krishna. But we'll get there. 18th chapter. We have a long way to go. But it's good to know what's coming at the end.
Just as Mataji was asking about Arjuna still not realizing the answer is thinking. So I remember you mentioning a story sometime back. Why Dhritarashtra had to have 100 children and have the sorrow and suffering of losing all of them because of his past karma. And yes, Arjuna, is there any story or anything related to that? How Arjuna came to that position that he could hear the Gita from? Is there any story?
I don't know of any story like that, but the only thing we know is that Arjuna is a friend and a devotee of Krishna. So that's why he was selected to be at that position to hear Bhagavad Gita. That's why Krishna is saying at the beginning, the reason I'm explaining this to you is because you're a friend and a devotee. So that is, if we become a friend or a devotee of Krishna, then we can understand Bhagavad Gita. So our qualification is try to become a friend or a devotee of Krishna. Then we'll be qualified to understand. Otherwise, we'll be like Dhritarashtra, blind, cannot see, cannot even understand what's happening. जितनी मर्जी बात सुनो, घुसेगा नहीं कान के अंदर, निकल जाएगा. You don't want that, right? वैसे ही बहुत चीजें होती हैं जो घुसती हैं निकल जाती हैं. You want to make sure at least this can stick, because then it can directly go into the heart and there will be a transformation. Okay, so if there are no reflections, we'll end. Or any questions? Yeah,
just want to add, Prabhu.
Yes.
So far, Arjuna is not aware of Krishna's true reality. He, like at this stage, he still thinks that Krishna is my cousin, he's my friend. That's why he's asking the question. Once Krishna explains, then he will get to know that I'm in front of the God. So just follow what he's saying now. So that's why he's asking the question. As of now, he doesn't know. He just considers him as his friend and his cousin. His better cousin. That's why. So and he's getting, as Prabhu said, he's getting this knowledge because he is the true devotee. He does the righteous thing, and everything. For the dharma, it's not that why Krishna is present, why doesn't know. Nobody knew that so far, except Balaram, till the Mahabharata, nobody knew it. So,
yeah, he will later on say, I was thinking of you as my friend. I used to have like how you go to cousin's place. Like I remember going to my mama's place and just having fun and just doing anything you want and just hanging out and not caring about much, right? It's like I'm like that. I was thinking like that, but you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he realizes, and that's the verse in the 10th chapter, 12th verse. It says, Arjun says, Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavam, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adi Devam, Agam. Like now realize you're the Supreme Personality of God. You're Param Brahma. You're Param Dhama, you're Supreme Abode. Right? Pavitram, you're the purest. There's no one more pure than you. Paramam Bhavan. Right? So he's saying all these words for Krishna. That's in the 10th chapter, but still Bhagavad Gita goes on till 18 chapters. There's still explanation, more explanation needed. I think there's a lot of balloons going off today. The party is about to start. Yes, Mate.
What Prabhuji mentioned, I was thinking maybe Krishna knew something inside with Arjuna knew something inside him that there is something special about Krishna, because I feel the story that says when Duryodhana and Arjuna had gone to Krishna before the actual Kurukshetra war happened, and Arjuna happened to sit next to the feet. Krishna first asked Arjuna, "What do you want?" And Arjuna said, "I want only you to be in my side." So maybe he didn't ask for the other things that Krishna had, his army. So maybe he knew something within that there is something special about Krishna.
I mean, we have to understand one thing here. Knowing about Krishna, that he's a Supreme Lord, is at a lower stage as compared to not knowing about Krishna and having a relationship. Do you understand what I said? I'll say that again.
Yeah.
Knowing about Krishna being the Supreme Personality of Godhead is at a lower stage of Krishna consciousness as compared to having a relationship with Krishna and not knowing he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like gopis of Vrindavan, Gopas of Vrindavan, right? Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj. If Mother Yashoda thinks my son is a Supreme Personality of Godhead, would she run after him with a stick? Would she tie him to a wooden grinding mortar? Would you tie a Supreme Personality of Godhead to a wooden grinding mortar? Have you tried that too? No, right? So the love Mother Yashoda, Nand Maharaj, all the gopis had was because they were above. Yeah. What happens is after millions and millions of pious lives and doing bhakti, they get that position of being with Krishna in the spiritual world. That is the difference between Vaikuntha and Golok Vrindavan. In Vaikuntha, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like a king, you go and you bow down every single day. But in Golok Vrindavan, Krishna maybe is on your shoulder, or sometimes you are on top of the shoulder of Krishna. And you don't care about anything else. You just love Krishna. He's coming, he's killing demons. Demons are coming, he's killing them. Oh, Krishna, there's something must be special with you. Anyways, whatever it is, then they go back to normal and say, okay, let's play. Mother Yashoda, binding him to the wooden grinder mortar, taking a stick, running after him, calling him a monkey, calling him, and Krishna is crying. Krishna is crying, literally is crying. Is he faking it? No, because he is in love with his devotee. He's in love with his devotee. So it's very high. So Arjun was at a higher stage. For him to realize Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead is actually taking a step down. But for who? For all of us. That's for all.
Yeah, there are like different types of router.
Switches, okay? Yes, switches.
With your hand, like just with your hand.
Connection.
Yeah. So that's why Arjun is doing that for us. He's saying all of that for us. And Krishna is making that arrangement so that we can understand the position. But their relationship is amazing. This is friendship. Okay. We'll end here. Okay.
Who was saying something?
Oh,
No,
yes.
I was just adding that like there are different types of bhav. One of them was the gopi bhav.
Yes.
It's like it's way above, like as you said, right? It's just knowing a supreme person Godhead, and only those who get the supreme knowledge, they get those benefits, and
Yeah.
like Mother Yashoda and everything. So those gopis, they were seeking the conjugal relations with Krishna. They don't care, he's a king of God.
We cannot, normal person cannot understand.
Yeah, so they were way beyond that.
Yeah.
So that stage is very high.
So if you all want to know the science of all of this, this is a science of bhakti. This is science. This is not like anyone. The science is written by Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Devotion. So you can all have that book to really understand different types of bhakti. And what we are trying to do is Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. And that Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti then eventually becomes into a spontaneous devotion of Raganuga Bhakti. And at that point, a devotee actually follows a particular Vrajvasi. In that mood, he performs bhakti. But that is spontaneous. There's a difference between Vaidhi means intentionally doing bhakti, and spontaneous means spontaneously you just love Krishna. You don't have to be told, chant your rounds. Or early morning you're chanting your rounds. Gopis are not chanting their rounds every single day. They just love Krishna. And we are chanting because so that we can develop that love. We are not at that stage. So Vaidhi sadhana becomes Raganuga. And then there are more stages of Bhava and Prema. So Nectar of Devotion has all that. Maybe after Bhagavad Gita, we can read Nectar of Devotion and go into the details. It's an amazing book, very beautiful. Okay. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. All the kids who
Wonderful class.
so we can end here, or is it
Just
one meaning us? Other two?
someday.
I think if there is no one, then you can end. Because now we'll do Aarti. So.
Shivan.
Oh, Shivani was there.
Shivani is-
Aarti ki was that one.
We can pray for the health.
Aju? Wait, let the kids, all the kids. You lead, right? Okay. Start.
वेदनाथ नृसिंहदेव भगवान की जय। महाप्रसाद में दो अल्प पुण्य चंद्राजन बजाय